This smartphone surprised me. It's that time of the year again, so Xiaomi released their mid-generation refresh of the T series smartphone. This time, the entire T series is going full MediaTek, at least for this generation. And this time, the Xiaomi 13T Pro is using the MediaTek Dimensity 9200 Plus, which is no joke. It's an amazing chip, but before we talk about anything, do hit the subscribe button because more than 98% of our viewers have not subscribed yet, and hitting that button would really help us out a lot. So let's start off by talking about the gaming test of this phone. It comes with the MediaTek Dimensity 9200 Plus, like what we said earlier, and as what we have shown in our gaming test video, which you can watch at the top right corner there, the performance is nearly 60 FPS throughout the entire gameplay of Genshin Impact at the highest graphical setting. However, there are two things that I do want to highlight here. Number one, I do not know what's the render resolution of the game, but the performance could be very close to the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2. And number two, the efficiency while playing games on this phone isn't exactly on par with the Snapdragon versions, but yeah, the skin temperature, as what we have measured, is slightly higher than the 8 Gen 2. But we can't say anything concrete as of now because we are only measuring the skin temperature and not the real temperature of the chipset itself. Still, it is an amazing chipset nonetheless. I really do think that MediaTek is doing a good job here, and should Snapdragon be worried? Do let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. I think we also need to talk about the battery life since we are talking about efficiency here. It has a 5000 mAh battery, and I think that it is using a dual cell battery design. I can't confirm this. The battery life is pretty okay, as we have ran our usual PC mount battery life test at 100 nits of brightness, and it can last for slightly more than 12 hours. If we put this number in comparison with the, let's just say, Xiaomi 13 with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 for example, it is clear that the Dimensity 9200 Plus isn't exactly as efficient overall. The resolution here isn't exactly a problem either, since if we compare it with the Galaxy S23 Ultra for example, that also has the same 5000 mAh battery and more or less the same resolution. Yeah, the battery life of the Xiaomi 13T Pro is just not that good. However, one special feature that this phone has up its sleeves is that 120 watts fast charging. There is even a GAN charger that is included in the box as well, but unfortunately it is using the proprietary charging standard, so we cannot use this charger to charge our laptop for example. Anyway, if we just plug in the charger and charge the phone, then we can get to 100% in about half an hour or so. The temperature while charging is fairly decent, as it is at around 37.5 degrees Celsius at most. We can further boost up the charging speed by heading into the settings menu, find this option and then enable boost charging option. And that allows the phone to go truly up to 120 watts of fast charging, but I think it's not worth doing at all. Yes, we can get to 100% in less than 20 minutes, but the temperature is beyond 45 degrees Celsius for most of the time, and that's not particularly healthy for your battery, especially in the long term. And just to show you what kind of proprietary charging standard I mean here, we also did the charging test once more with our Ugreen 140 watts GAN charger that supports USB PD standards. But our watt meter says that this phone can only take up to 25 watts maximum. So as you can see from this graph here, it takes around 50 minutes to charge completely, but the temperature is really good. I should also highlight here that this phone does not have wireless charging. It's just not there. Okay, now let's talk about the cameras. We have triple cameras and the specs of each camera is as shown on the screen here. All three cameras here are using lenses that are co-created by Leica. I think that's the correct terminology. It's sort of like the lenses are made by Xiaomi but approved by Leica. I guess that's how it works. We can select either Leica Authentic or Leica Vibrant color profiles, and we'll start with the Vibrant color profile first. Now for the main camera, it's gonna look good in whatever scenario that we're gonna take pictures in. The dynamic range isn't particularly the best if the background is bright or if the shot has some sort of bright signboards in the mix. The ultra-wide camera though is quite rough. It's fuzzy overall, and even outdoors or indoors, day or night shots is just kind of fuzzy overall. I mean, the colors are okay, but it's just not that clear. There is no clarity for this ultra-wide angle camera. And just remember to hold the phone in a lower position if you're gonna hold it like this to take picture. If not, then it's gonna take your middle finger in the shot as well. And that's what happened to me quite a lot of times actually. Now the telephoto camera sounds good, but the camera itself is not really that good because it lacks OIS. But as you can see here, the details are just, yeah, it's just not good. It's fuzzy overall, and I took this picture with the main camera and then I stepped back and take the same frame, the same scene of picture using the telephoto camera. And the dog's hair is just all fuzzy. I mean, it should be fuzzy, it's dog hair anyway, but yeah, I can't see the individual strands of hair. But at least the colors are okay, I guess. And for another comparison here, I took the same pictures in both Leica Vibrant and also authentic color profiles. And from what I can see here, the Leica Vibrant is too vibrant since the dog's fur is a bit too brown for my liking and for what I can see with my own eyes. But Leica Authentic is way too flat. But generally, I do prefer Leica Vibrant more because the colors are just more lively. But if I want to edit pictures later, then we shall use Leica Authentic, and then we can edit it from there to emulate something like the Leica Vibrant color profile. Here are a few more different pictures for comparison. I also realized that Leica Vibrant seems to add a vignette effect around the four corners. Why? We can also take up to 8K 24fps or 4K 60fps videos using this phone, and I opted in for the latter. I took this video at night and I think it looks fairly okay as the main camera stabilization is decent enough. There are some jitter artifacts here and there, and that is caused by EIS, but I think generally, yeah, it's okay. Oh, the camera app also got a brand new interface too. A few things that I want to highlight here is that the camera settings is now split into a grid-like interface, and some of the settings are still found within the usual camera settings menu like what we had before. Because of this new interface, I needed some time to find some options, for example the grid option, and that has been moved to the new grid-like option. That sounds confusing, but I'll show you in the video here, and I definitely needed more time to get used to this kind of interface. Also, if you want to use manual mode to take pictures using this phone, then it's quite good now since the new design is focused towards single-handed usage. And while we are on that subject, let's talk about the software. The Xiaomi 13T Pro is using MIUI 14.0.6 on top of Android 13, and as usual, the settings menu in MIUI is still a mess. Finding the screen timeout option is still not within the display menu, but it's in this menu instead. The amount of bloatware here is still considered minimal in this case, but I still don't understand why these Get apps exist. We have to use these Get apps to update Xiaomi's own apps right now, but we can also update them using the Google Play Store. So why do I need the Get apps? I don't know. And other than that, MIUI hasn't changed much. But what has changed though is Xiaomi's software update policy. Finally, they are upping their game to 4 generations of Android OS upgrades and 5 years of security patches, matching Samsung's software update policy. We did ask Xiaomi how's the update frequency, but there's no solid answer that we can get as of now. This phone is also using a 6.67-inch AMOLED screen with a rather high resolution of 2712 by 1220 pixels, and it can go up to 144Hz refresh rate. That's fancy. Our colorimeter also reports that this display can cover 100% of sRGB and 97.84% of DCI-P3 color gamuts while maintaining a rather good delta E number. Even the maximum brightness of this phone's screen is around 1200 nits, and with all things considered, this is a very good display. Xiaomi also stated that this phone is using 2880Hz PWM dimming, which I have no idea how it will affect those who are sensitive to PWM dimming. And if you are sensitive to PWM dimming, then do leave a comment down below. I have some questions for you. But one thing that I do want to comment is the under-display fingerprint scanner. That location is just really bad and not ergonomic at all. It's way too low. All of this hardware is encased in this design. If you already saw how the Redmi K60 Ultra looks, then this is pretty much identical. I don't know why Xiaomi stuck with the glossy finish, and I personally preferred a matte finish. And this camera bump is ridiculously large. It catches dust around the perimeter and it is pretty much impossible to clean since this phone is a fingerprint magnet. However, this phone does have IP68 rating, which is excellent, and it also has double SIM card slots in case you want to use that feature, but there is no microSD card slot. Unfortunately, it is using a USB 2.0 port at the bottom here, and it takes a very long time to copy 1 GB of file. It shouldn't take this long, it should be an instant. And this phone also does not support display output over USB-C. And finally, for the price. This is what surprised me the absolute most. If you compare back with last year's pricing, then yeah, you'll be surprised too. It got a price drop and also a RAM upgrade. If you got your wallet out and you want to buy the Xiaomi 13 Pro this instant, then I suggest you to buy the 256 gigs or 512 gigs variant. That 1TB variant though, yeah, the price hike is a bit insane and that extra RAM is pretty much useless at this point in time. You can watch our video at the top right corner there to know why. The only benefit of getting 1TB is of course you get 1TB worth of storage, but I think that's quite a bad idea since transferring all of your files out will take forever with the USB 2.0 port. Uploading and downloading them from the cloud will literally be faster than using that USB port, if you have fast internet speed, that is. So finally, is this phone a good buy? I think yes, it's a strong contender within this price point, and I don't think there is any alternative for this kind of price range, for this kind of specs at this point in time. By the time you watch this video, that might change, so do subscribe so that you are in the loop, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Dust.